and many other important issues. Earlier this year, he was one of some 30 members of Congress urging House leaders to provide adequate funding for adult education programs. And we at PEMA, which is the home to one of the best adult education programs in the nation, are deeply grateful for his support. And as you know, he's been a longtime champion of those who have worked very hard to make better lives for themselves and their families. He understands the importance of protecting Social Security and Medicare and recognizes that these programs are essential to the well-being of millions of Americans, including many of us in this room. I have heard Representative Grijalva speak so eloquently, and at one point I thought he should be running for president when he was. And because he describes what makes America great. The United States isn't perfect, he says, but we are always striving for perfection so that tomorrow can be better for everyone, rich and poor, young and old. And I would also like to add that Raúl has consistently voted in favor of seniors and retirees. In his career, his voting record of voting with the Alliance for Retired Americans is 100%. And many of you know he was honored last year at this luncheon as your champion of Social Security, and he has not let you or us down. Please join me in welcoming Raúl M. He mentioned the 5 decades.
This one, right? Okay, thank you very much. Let me thank the Alliance for giving me this great honor of naming an award after myself, but an award that, and thank you very much for naming the award the way you did. I appreciate that very much. And it's particularly humbling because today we're going to be giving an award to 2 individuals who I've always admired and have done more in behalf of the elderly, senior citizens, those that find themselves vulnerable, than I could ever imagine doing myself. So it's humbling and yet very gratifying for that. My good friend, the congressman, said something about this very important and defining election, and he's absolutely correct. What's at stake is Social Security. What's at stake is Medicare. But really what's at stake is who we are as a people in this country. And the avarice that has driven the last 10 years is now something that, you know, we're beginning to realize the consequences of what has happened for 10 years. And the favor that was done, not just to Democrats, the favor that was done to the American people by picking Paul Ryan as their running mate is significant. Yes, we're going to talk about some real issues. Yes, he is part of a ticket. But more importantly, nobody can dance around the contrast anymore. Nobody can hide from what is on paper and what has been said repeatedly for the last 4 or 5 years. Nobody can dodge the question. We are running a campaign of the Ryan budget, adopted twice by the House of Representatives that I sit in, embraced by every Republican in the Senate, embraced by the head of the Republican ticket, Romney. So that budget is on the table, and that, I am glad, is going to be where the American people make a decision. And I think, and you look at Social Security, he's been saying, oh, no, we're not going to touch Social Security. We're going to make Medicare stronger. The reality is that in that budget, he says, we're going to offer workers 55 and under the option of putting a third of their Social Security into a private. So we're going to, once again, start the gambling process with people's monies in terms of Wall Street and financial services. We already had that experience. And we're going to make the program permanently solvent. And then the budget office says something really interesting. By combining, I got to read this because it doesn't even make sense when I read it out loud. By combining a more realistic measure of growth in Social Security's initial benefits and with an eventual modernization of the retirement age. Let me define permanent solvent. The translation is there'll be lower benefits, we're going to rise the retirement age, and modernization means that you will be working longer, probably earning less, and covering the losses of everybody that took their third and decided to gamble it in Wall Street. That's modernization. And that is in that budget, and that is the proposal, and that is the proposal that the Alliance and every one of us has to take to the American people and say there is a choice about how this America of ours is going to be. And we should be talking about cutting benefits. We should be talking about making the system more efficient. We should be talking about improving benefits and making them, as the Congressman said, equitable for women as well. And the trust fund, the trustees are just buying time. Well, that's not true. But if we were buying time, let's just scrap the payroll tax cap so that the wealthy pay the same as those that are not. You only buy yourself another 30 to 35 years. And that's one mechanism that nobody talks about. And so Social Security is on the table in this election. Don't be told otherwise and don't believe otherwise. And I hope that you will be energetic in helping your advocates that are running and the people that support you and Social Security and what it means in the long term. My friend Ron needs, wants, and deserves the help. And I hope all of us join in helping him become a member, not only for the district he represents, but to take that voice about the importance of Social Security and Medicare to a national stage. And he already won one race on those two issues, and I'm confident he's going to win the next one for those two issues. Today I get to have fun. I have two great individuals, and let me talk a little bit about Lydia Baker. I don't know if many of you know, but she was my typing teacher at Sunnyside High School. more than once, I might add. In those days, the requirement's a little looser, so that you could either take business math or typing to avoid algebra. So I took business math. That was consumer math, it was called. It was fine. But then I had to take typing. Possibly one of the toughest courses I've ever taken. And Lydia would come to me and say, Raúl, please, all you need is 25 words with 5 mistakes and you pass the class. First time, I took incomplete. Second time, I did 26 words with 6 mistakes. And I said, And Lydia goes, let's just drop one on each side and we're done. I'm grateful it allowed me to get to the University of Arizona. I knew her with Board of Supervisors, and when I worked at El Pueblo Neighborhood Center, working with Medicaid and Medicare to seniors, great advocates, smart, put on great workshops to educate people and kind of help people traverse that path. And she deserves this award because I think, I like to say it, sometimes we recognize somebody like Lydia and say, and people wonder, who is she? There is countless people that are not here today that on a very personal level can tell you who she is. She was a friend, consummate professional, and one hell of an advocate for people. And for Lydia, for her work, for assisting individuals in protecting Social Security and Medicare for our prosperity, recognizing the outstanding dedication and service of Lydia Baker. The 2012 award by the Alliance is presented to her. Thank you. Stuart's gonna receive the award on her behalf and say a little bit something about her, because you were her friend and co-worker for many years.
Thank you, Congressman. It's my pleasure to be here. Lydia was a very, very private person. She was married, she grew up in Brooklyn, but she never had any children of her own. And we would talk about that sometimes. What was important to her, and what I reinforced for her every time we spoke about the subject, was that her children were those people who she helped, those students who needed assistance through typing classes. Now, I also have to say that as a skilled touch typist, it really made it very difficult for her to work on a computer, because she would never want to look at the screen, because she was taught to, to type like that. And the screen would be saying, "Stop, you need to do this." And she would be typing away. So again, she was a dynamite lady who lived through her friends. She was a very, very strong advocate. She would get people to do things that I couldn't believe she could accomplish. She would have all of the insurance people known on a first-name basis. And when she called San Francisco or Washington, people knew who she was. When she came here to do some of those presentations, the people from Washington would defer to her when someone from the audience asked the question, because they only knew their little piece, and she knew how it all fit together. So we truly miss her. I spoke to her immediate staff, the folks who worked with her the most before I came here, and they all said that she was so honored and pleased to receive this award. She got the notice of it before she passed away, and she was just thrilled to have received it. She didn't tell anyone at work how sick she was. She knew, we found out afterwards, but at work she was very, very private about those things. She didn't want to burden anybody else about what was happening with her health. And so it came pretty much of a surprise to us when, after her reasonably brief illness, she had passed away. But she's someone who will be remembered in the minds of all those people she helped and all those people she taught. Thank you.
I'm going to wait for Stu to sit down so you can get back up. Again, the other recipient of the award from the Alliance is Stu Grabel. And all of us know Stu.
First time I've gotten applause from my wife.
I just bit my tongue really bad. Anyway. So, and we're honoring this man for 20 years of advocating in behalf of seniors at the Pima Council on Aging. And he has helped our office, he has helped me, he has been in this early on as the first Social Security fight started when Bush made that first attempt at privatization. Wonderful advocate, taught me what I needed to know in order to be good in defending against that privatization and opposing it. And besides that, he's nationally recognized. a treasure for us here in Tucson. And mentioned Lydia from Brooklyn. He's got a little Brooklyn roots himself, and we're very fortunate. This community seems to, in its own inimitable way, support individuals that are essential to the quality of life of our community. And Stu's one. We have forever been grateful for what he has done in behalf of a huge constituency in this town. And as we go forward with these fights on Social Security, on Medicare, his advocacy doesn't end today. We're going to rely on him, depend on him, lean on his shoulder as we go forth, not only to protect Social Security as it is now, but to assure that it's there for the generation after us and the generation after them. With that, let me bring up Stu Grabel and recognize
Thank you. It's a great honor to receive this award from the congressman who's been steadfast in his support for senior services, for Social Security, and for Medicare. I think it's important that we look to the future and not look to the past when we're talking about these things. And one of the problems that we have in our society